let's talk about something that drives pretty much everything we do: ambition. Now, you've probably thought about it a lot, but I want you to think of it in a specific way today, like a double-edged sword. It's this incredibly powerful tool, right? It can build empires, but it can also cause a whole lot of damage, all depending on how you use it.
So what's the deal? Is ambition this amazing virtue we should be encouraging in everyone? Or is it more like a dangerous vice? A fire that you have to keep under control or it'll burn down the whole house? That's the real question we're going to dig into.
Okay, so before we go any further, let's get on the same page. What even is ambition? Well, researchers define it as a persistent and generalized striving for success. The keywords there are persistent and generalized. This isn't just wanting one thing, like a promotion. It's more like a core part of your personality, an engine that's always on, pushing you to achieve things across your entire life.
All right, first, let's look at the good stuff, the bright side of that sword. There's a reason we celebrate ambition, and it's a big one. You could argue it's the engine that powers all of human progress. I mean, think about it on a huge scale. Every single major leap forward, whether it's in technology or medicine or social justice, it all started with someone's ambition. That relentless drive to do something that's never been done before, that's ambition at work. Without it, we'd just be stuck. And then, bring it down to a personal level. Ambition is what turns your potential into actual real-world achievement. You can be the smartest person in the room, but without that drive, that ambition, nothing happens. It's the spark that makes you go out and build a career, or finish that degree, or finally master that skill you've been working on.
Ambition also gives us a really powerful sense of purpose. It answers the question, why am I doing this? Having that clear goal in the distance makes you incredibly resilient. You can handle setbacks and failures because you're not focused on the short-term loss, you're looking at the long-term prize.
So, to wrap up the bright side, it's pretty clear. Ambition fuels our society. It gives us motivation when things get tough, and it helps us bounce back from failure. And here's a really crucial point from the research. When your ambition is aimed at intrinsic goals, things like growing as a person or helping your community, it's also directly linked to being happier and more satisfied with your life.
And hey, this isn't just some nice theory. The data on this is super clear. A huge, long-term study found that ambition is one of the strongest predictors of what we'd call objective success. People who rated higher in ambition consistently got more education, ended up in more prestigious jobs, and, yep, made more money. The payoff is absolutely real. But you knew this was coming. We have to talk about that other edge of the sword. For all the amazing things ambition can do, there's a dark side. There's a price for that prize. So now, let's flip that sword over and take a hard look at the dangers. One of the biggest traps of ambition is a little something psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. You know the feeling, right? We think, if I can just achieve this one thing, I'll finally be happy. But what actually happens? You get a short burst of happiness, and then your brain just sets a new, higher goal. You're always running, but the finish line keeps moving. And the research really captures this feeling perfectly. As one major study puts it, the ambitious person is frequently dissatisfied with their current state, always looking to the next horizon. It's this kind of restless energy where right now is just never good enough.
And that constant dissatisfaction can lead to some really serious problems. When ambition isn't kept in check, it's tied to a much higher risk of burnout and anxiety. That intense pressure to win can also tempt people to bend the rules or make ethical compromises. And maybe the most painful part, it can seriously damage your relationships with family and friends.
Okay, so we've seen the two sides of the coin. On one hand, incredible success. On the other, burnout and unhappiness. So what are we supposed to do? The answer isn't to kill your ambition, not at all. It's about learning how to manage it. So, how do we wield this powerful sword without cutting ourselves?
Well, the research points to a really clear three-part strategy. First, aim for those intrinsic goals we talked about. Focus your drive on personal growth or making a real impact, not just on chasing money or status. Second, you have to consciously set your ethical boundaries. Decide what you will and won't do before you're in a tough spot. And third, and this is so important, you have to actively protect your relationships. Put time for your friends and family on your calendar, just like you would a business meeting.
So, at the end of the day, ambition isn't good or bad. It just is. It's a tool, and an incredibly powerful one at that. You can use it to build a meaningful, accomplished life, or you can let it drive you into a life of constant dissatisfaction. So the question we want to leave you with is pretty simple. Now that you know about both sides of the blade, How are you going to use yours?